£7.5 billion. That's what UK lenders have now been told to pay back to 12.1 million car finance customers, after regulators ruled they were quietly overcharged on commission built into their car loans. Here's the line that should worry anyone who's bought a car on finance in the last 2 decades: the very deal that got you into your car might be the same deal now owed back to you. A buyer in the Midlands signs for a used hatchback on a standard PCP deal, nothing unusual, nothing that looks wrong on paper. Years later they find out the commission structure baked into that agreement was never properly disclosed. That's not one unlucky person. Stories like that are turning up across owner forums and finance complaint threads every single week right now. That's not an outlier. That's the documented reality of car finance in Britain right now. Around 100 separate vehicle safety recalls were logged in just the first 6 weeks of this year alone. And 3.2 million recalled cars and vans from 2018 to 2023 were never actually fixed. Today I'm walking you through 11 cars British dealers genuinely do not want sitting on their forecourt in 2026, and by the end, you'll know exactly which type of car combines all 3 of Britain's current car buying disasters into one vehicle. Stick with me to the end for that one, because it's not what most people expect. Today I am counting down 11 cars, ranked from bad to absolutely brutal. By the end of this video you'll know which recalls are still unresolved on used stock right now, which finance agreements are quietly eligible for a payout, and which specific type of car is losing value faster than almost anything else on a British forecourt. Number 1 on this list isn't a single model, it's a category, and once I explain it, you'll understand why it beats every named car on this countdown. I've stood in enough auction halls to know a number that's been polished before it ever hits the block, and I've spent years watching what a car is actually worth against what a dealer needs you to believe it's worth. That's the background I bring to this. Everything in this video is pulled from documented public sources, the Financial Conduct Authority's own redress scheme figures, the DVSA's Public Recall Register, SMMT registration data, and industry reporting from Auto Trader and the BVRLA. If you've watched my last video on used EV residual values, you'll know I don't sugarcoat this stuff, and honestly, I get asked about the finance scandal in the comments most weeks now, so let's actually deal with it properly. If any of this saves you from a 5-figure mistake, that's genuinely why I make these videos. Hit subscribe if you want more of this before you go car shopping. Right now, forecourts across Britain are being squeezed from 3 directions at once. Used EV supply is exploding as 3-year-old fleet and salary sacrifice leases return to market faster than buyers want them, with used electric prices down by as much as 28% in places. Layer on the recall backlog, then layer the finance scandal on top of that, and you get a market where one of Britain's biggest used car retailers, Car Giant, has already shut down completely. Let me put that in plain English terms: the math simply doesn't work for a lot of stock sitting on forecourts right now. Coming in at number 11, older Peugeot 208s, pre-recall fix. These are affected by an alternator area fault. That means, in plain terms, they shouldn't be sold on until it's been repaired. 13,345 Peugeot 208s were added to the DVSA recall register in March alone. That's not a small batch quietly fixed in a back workshop. That's a documented queue. Number 10 is where the ordinary buyer gets bored, and that's exactly the problem. Coming in at number 10, older diesel cars in the 10 to 15 year bracket. Nothing dramatic here, no fire risk, no fault code. Just dead stock. These currently sit on forecourts for around 39 days on average, longer than any other age segment tracked. A car that won't move is a car losing money every single day it sits there, and dealers know it. Number 9, the Vauxhall Corsa F, over its lane keep assist fault. The software can fail to warn the driver when the safety system isn't actually active, which defeats the entire point of having it. Vauxhall recalled 16,348 Corsa F models over this in April. Would you trust a safety system that doesn't tell you when it's switched itself off? I wouldn't. Number 8, older Hyundai Kona electric models, on the earlier battery pack. This one's a genuine risk, not just an inconvenience. There's a high-voltage battery cell fault linked to fire and short-circuit risk. Hyundai recalled 25,056 Kona electrics over it in May. Documented. Confirmed. Still working through workshops right now. Number 7. Any Stellantis 1.2-litre mild hybrid, across Peugeot, Citroën, Vauxhall, Fiat and Alfa Romeo badges. This one ranks above the Kona despite fewer vehicles at 44,000, because it spans 5 brands and one engine family, meaning a huge slice of budget-friendly small cars across the entire group carry the same fire risk defect. It's not one bad model. It's one bad engine, wearing 5 different badges. Number 6. Entry-level Chinese brand EVs, the newer names arriving in UK showrooms. Nothing wrong under the bonnet necessarily. The problem is residual value confidence. These brands simply don't have the UK track record that Nissan, Kia or Hyundai have built up, so dealers can't price them with certainty and buyers hesitate at the point of resale. That uncertainty is exactly what makes a car hard to shift 2 years down the line. Quick favor before we hit the top 5. If this is genuinely useful, give the like button a tap. The top 5 picks are where the real money disappears, and I want this pushed to as many people as possible before they sign on the dotted line. Cheers! On we go. Number 5. X-Fleet and Salary Sacrifice EVs, flooding back onto forecourts right now. This is a wall, not a trickle, massive volumes of 2020 to 2022 lease returns landing at almost the same time. When that many near-identical used EVs hit the market together, prices get crushed before a dealer even gets the chance to mark one up. Number 4. Any car sitting in part exchange stock with an unresolved recall still open. Here's the part dealers don't always clock themselves. A separate study found 72% of UK cars recalled for safety issues are still on the road with the fault unresolved. Only 28% were ever actually fixed. So when a dealer takes a trade-in, there's a real chance they've just taken on someone else's unfixed safety problem, documented and everything, without even realizing it. Number 3. Any car sold on PCP or HP finance between 2007 and 2024. This is the exact category now sitting at the center of the £7.5 billion scandal. The FCA found firms broke the law by failing to properly disclose commission arrangements to customers, and firms are now expected to pay out roughly £7.5 billion in redress. Buyers are newly suspicious of dealer-arranged finance across the board right now, and honestly, can you blame them? Number 2. Premium EVs bought new in 2022 and 2023, right before the price crash. These owners paid full price at the top of the market and are now trying to trade into a collapsed one. Average EV depreciation currently sits at 38 to 42% after 3 years, and used EV prices are still falling by around 10% year-on-year into 2026. That's not a soft landing. That's a 5-figure mistake for a lot of people, through absolutely no fault of their own. And topping the list at number 1, any EV bought new on a PCP finance deal between 2021 and 2023. Start with the brand-level problem. Across the board, EVs are depreciating faster than equivalent petrol cars, and 64% of leasing industry leaders now expect used EV residual values to fall even further before the end of this year. That's not one manufacturer having a bad run. That's the whole category losing value under everyone at once. Now the specific problem. This buyer signed exactly the kind of PCP agreement now under FCA scrutiny, the commission-based structure at the heart of the redress scheme. Their finance is very likely one of the 12.1 million agreements now eligible for compensation, which means the dealer who sold it to them may genuinely owe them money back. Then there's the regulatory layer. The Financial Conduct Authority's own policy statement, published in March, confirmed the scale of this scheme and set out redress running to roughly £7.5 billion, averaging around £830 per agreement. Regulators described the conduct in scathing terms. This wasn't framed as a technical slip, it was framed as a systemic failure to disclose. Documented, on the record, not a rumor. And then the support layer. If it's an early first-generation EV, an early Kona, an early ID series car, anything from that first big wave, there's a real chance it's also sitting on one of the very recalls we've already covered tonight, with a servicing network that's still catching up to demand. So put all 4 of those together. A depreciating asset. A missold finance contract. A possible open recall. And a service network still playing catch-up. No other car on this list touches all four at once. That's what makes this category undeniably number one. If that's you, here's your action step. Check your finance agreement date against the FCA's redress scheme window, and get your car's registration checked on the DVSA recall database tonight. Both take about 5 minutes. You are now the informed buyer who knows something most people walking into a showroom today do not. So there they are. 11. The 208 nobody fixed yet. 10. The diesel nobody wants anymore. 9. The safety system that doesn't warn you. 8. The battery risk under 5 brand badges away. 7. 1 engine, 5 badges, 1 fire risk. 6. The EV with no track record to price against. 5. The lease return wall-crushing prices. 4. The trade-in that's secretly unsafe. 3. The finance deal now under investigation. 2. The premium EV bought at the top of the market. 1. The EV, the finance, and the recall, all in one car. My honest takeaway, and it's the same one I always give, none of these cars are evil in themselves. Informed buyers always win, every single time, no exceptions. You have real rights here under the Consumer Rights Act, particularly around goods being of satisfactory quality and as described, and those rights don't disappear just because you bought on finance rather than cash. If something on this list applies to you, don't panic and don't assume the worst, just check it properly before you decide anything. That's the whole game. Walk away if the numbers don't add up, and stay if they genuinely do. Are you sitting in front of an EV you bought on finance in 2021 or 2022 right now, wondering if you should actually check your paperwork tonight? Did you take a part exchange recently and only just realize it might be one of the 72% still carrying an unresolved recall? Or are you the person who bought a Kona or a Corsa F years ago and never even got the recall letter? Drop your stories in the comments. The honest ones, the painful ones, the I should have watched this 6 months ago ones. All welcome. If this helped, give it a like. Hit subscribe for more straight-talking British car advice, and I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe, and remember, a car that's cheap to buy but expensive to own was never actually cheap at all.